Throughout the world, people have had experiences that they cannot explain. There are those that search for an explanation to these experiences. Here are their first-hand stories of the paranormal.
At Clarendon itself, it's a big 3-storey estate that's been standing there for 150 odd years. That's been there a good fair while. We did 2 investigations there. The first time was okay. It is a place to behold. It also can be quite creepy at night. We had cameras set up all over the place, and we were in one room and we were talking. You could hear us talking, but at the same time, when we listened back to the audio, we could constantly hear what sounded like 2 females constantly shushing each other and saying yes. And at the end of the table was an old silver dining platter. You pick up there's your food. I was sitting at the head of the table talking amongst ourselves, because usually we find we get our best evidence when we're just chatting amongst ourselves about whatever. Then all of a sudden this platter lifted up about that far off the table and just slammed itself down.
So I guess when I was little, I used to see a woman coming into my room when I was a kid. I tend to think that was probably a dream now, but that was, I think, what kind of started my interest in the paranormal and ghosts and things. It was a really reoccurring thing. So we had just recently moved into a new house. We had built the house, so we lived on the same property but in a different building before that. Sort of every night, I don't know what time, sort of after I went to sleep, I would often wake up, it seemed late for a kid, and say, call out to my mum that I needed a drink. And always before my mum arrived, this older woman would come into the house, come into the room, and when that happened, I would pretend to be asleep, because in your kid brain, no one can hurt you if they think you're asleep. But if I looked up before my mum got there, she would be closer to the bed. Like if it was a dream, like I say, it was quite vivid, because it wasn't just I saw her at the door. She would come in, I would hide my eyes, I would look up, she would be closer. But then when my mum came, she would always be gone. And my mum would think I was asleep because I was pretending to be asleep. But in my mind now, I think maybe I was asleep and my mum was waking me up. But it was definitely a recurring thing, and it definitely, at the time, I definitely believed that it was a ghost.
We've discovered there's this entity behind the stairs, and not a nice one. Now, we found this out through a big post or another video of us just prior to a tour. We do preliminary investigations and talk to the spirits. It's always really important to develop relationships between us as tour guides and the spirits, because they'll, as friends, we can communicate and they'll do stuff for us more often than not if we were just random sort of turning up in the area. And we asked the spirit called Dr. Dave, is there anyone else around us? What's the nature of this entity and that sort of thing? So there were a lot of questions as the cut short, and we found out there's an entity behind the stairs, and this entity's not a nice one. It's we came to discover it's a shadow person, which is very strange. It's not good or bad. It doesn't have a figure of such. It's more like a black mass. This type of entity is a sentinel, so very territorial, will watch you, observe you from a distance, won't necessarily engage with you unless you disturb its area or command it to do something. It'll be very confrontational. And yeah, the room just got like someone just turning like a light down, it just got really, really dark, like you looking at like a black piece of paper or something. Like it just got darker than that type thing, and it's like it felt like a shroud of just energy over everyone coming from the stairs, which was like you had like all the people on the side, and then you had me standing here, and I could feel it come behind, from behind the stairs at all of us, and I'm looking at everyone, and everyone's like sort of uneasy, and I'm feeling it too, and there was like a lot of growling coming from behind the stairs. No animals in the building, because we checked afterwards, no animals, but there was like a really deep growl type thing. It was hard to explain it. So it wasn't like a dog growl. It was like it was just a really deep growl, and it just got more intense. People started freaking out. I think someone, as we were talking about it, someone had to leave the building, and I had to go ashore of them and see if they were okay, and tell them it's okay and stuff. And, I'll settle it and stuff. that's when, I'm not sure if it was a total attachment, but I got that night, which was rather scary for me. It was my first attachment, in a way. It's sort of, sorry, it's hard to talk about. It affected me at home. Like, after the investigation, I got really angry. Like, anger come out of nowhere. I felt oppressed, depression in a way. I couldn't speak to any of my family because I just got randomly angry. And it started freaking me out because, like, I'm not normally like this. I'm like, and I had to ask our psychic for help because I didn't know what to do at that point. It was just getting worse. I didn't want to leave the house. And he told me a few ways to try and help me out. And I tried them, of course, because I just wanted it gone. And it, surprisingly, the more I did it, the more it sort of let go type thing. And I had a bit of a break after that. After that experience, I had a bit of a break from investigating. Because it's just traumatizing. It even affected me at work. I just couldn't work with people. It just annoyed me. I just couldn't wait to go home and just stay in my bedroom type thing. But after the break, I felt more, like, in a way, stronger. In a way, like I can go in there now and sort of, resist him clinging on again, which is, thank God.
The lady came to her, she was scared out of her mind. She wouldn't go into her bedroom because she woke up one night and she seen a real dark figure at the end of the bed just holding her legs and harassing her at the side of the bed. She wouldn't sleep there for weeks, so we came in, just sort of walked around the house, only small little unit. And we talked to her, and so it was just Brendan and I who did that one. We had 3 audio equipments, 2 in the lounge room, 1 in her bedroom, and all 3 of them were asking questions, and all 3 of the devices, we got a man's voice saying, "Oh, my daughter." Then she told us how her dad was a real nasty man. So sort of, hang on a bit. We couldn't hear it, but on these 3 devices we caught the exact same voice saying the exact same thing. And it turned out she had an old photo of her dad in the wall, and we thought maybe that's why he was hanging around. He was trying to get a message across. That's what was going on, and we sorted that out for her, and she decided to get rid of that photo, and things seemed to calm down.
The first experience that I had, and the worst so far anyway, was walking into the senior surgeon's basement. I took 2 steps backwards after speaking to some visitors, and it felt like I ran into somebody. So naturally I just turned around to apologise, but when I looked there was an empty space, but it literally knocked the wind out of me. Like, if I didn't run into a person, it was a brick wall. And I also know of 3 other tour guides that have had that same experience in the same location.
Behind the stairs there's like a few rooms, one of the open rooms. Put my arm into this room and said, is anyone here? Can you please come out and talk to us? I really want to talk to you. I felt this pulsating sort of energy up throughout my entire arm. I've never experienced it before. I only can describe it as like some sort of, not electricity, but I suppose it is. It's very hard to describe because I've got nothing to compare it with. I think there's a lot of this stuff we've got nothing too much to compare it with, so we have to sort of, it's hard to, anyway, it's like a sensation going on my arm, and it's like a pulsating sort of sensation, and my instrument in my hand, I was using a rook meter, which again is an EMF meter, and that was also pulsating as well, so my body's reacting to whatever I'm experiencing, and the device in my hand is reacting to it as well. So that for me was just, that's wow. Because when we're doing these sort of things, we're always trying to get as much data as possible through ourselves and other bits of equipment to come to a conclusion kind of thing. But yeah, that's one of the experiences that really freaked me out, because I'm experiencing something's coming at me, I don't know what it is, it's affected me in some sort of way.
We had a sound recorder set up in the house, we locked all the doors and left, but we were still on the property, and you'd definitely be able to see if anyone came. It's quite remote. And anyway, when we were looking back through the sound recorder footage, we have like a very clear sound of what sounds like someone picking up the sound recorder saying, "Ooh, what's that?" And then they put it back down, and you can hear, like, it's very clear. You can hear like traces of a British accent.
Years ago, I went to America, and on the last leg of the journey, I was in LA and we went on to Queen Mary. And that's notorious for being haunted. I thought, this is awesome, I enjoy walking around this. And we did a little ghost tour thing, and then in the part of the ship, there's a stairwell. And during its time, a sailor died on that stairs because when it was going through the ocean, the waves were knocking around a bit, and the fella was going up the stairs, a wave hit and knocked him back, he fell down, broke his neck and died. And we were at that part, and I was taking photos, everyone going downstairs, and I got this one photo where right at the very end, one photo, nothing there. Next photo, it looks like there's a sailor standing right down there at the bottom of the stairs. White hat, blue shirt, white pants. Next photo, there's nothing. And there was no one in the group that was dressed like that, no one. There was a group of about 20 of us, and the only one in blue was that person in the white shorts holding the kid.
We heard knocking at our apartment sort of balcony door, and my wife actually got up in the night once to see who was there. She was sort of like half asleep, and we lived on the 27th floor, so there wasn't anyone on our balcony door. So that was kind of the only real experience I've had outside of the group, and again, it wasn't a big one.
At the LGH hospital, as you can imagine at a hospital, there's probably a few people still floating around there even after death. On level 2, right outside the mortuary, on one of my patrols, I was walking around, and I was there on my own. All I could hear was engine noise, but I heard an old man. I swear to this day, I heard an old man say in my ear, "Hello," like, you know, an old, gravelly old man voice, as you can imagine. And I wasn't just hearing it; it was clear as day. Hello. So I sort of stopped and I looked around, and I could feel someone was there, so I just said hello back, and then left. That's probably the most recent one I've had. And another guard I work with, she believes in it too. She said definitely on level 2. She said she was in the stairwell, she was down the bottom of it, and she just heard footsteps come down the stairs towards her, there was no one there.